What's good, everybody? It's your boy Agent P of the GLP, here to give you guys episode 62 of the Good Luck Podcast. Thank you again for listening. Please like, rate, share, subscribe on all the socials at the Good Look Pod. That's where you'll find everything, and that's where you're watching this on YouTube right now, if you are, and I really appreciate it. It's in-season tournament time, y'all. Wanted to make sure I got this review out to y'all before it's knockout time. We got games on Monday and Tuesday. Our final 8 here. I'm going to run through the matchups, give you my thoughts, and let you know what I think is going to come out of these ones. So first off, we'll go ahead and start in the East. We got our East quarterfinals with the Knicks and the Bucks. Knicks went 3-1 in the group. Bucks went undefeated and 4-0 in the group. Now, is this going to be a defensive rating battle? Because we're at opposite sides of the spectrum here, almost. Knicks are number 3 in the league right now in defensive rating. They're 12-7 overall for their record, and that's pretty much not a surprise when Tom Thibodeau is your head coach. Offense is a little bit clunky, but defense is something that obviously they hang their hat on, so that's what's gotten them to their winning record so far. Milwaukee, if you've been following along, it's been a weird year for them so far. Early on, it was very much having to deal with the fact that their defensive identity was something that they're still trying to figure out. And at this point, I'd still say that's something they're trying to figure out. Right now, currently, they're 21st in the league in defensive rating. Having Dame at the point of attack instead of Drew Holiday, obviously, is a very big difference, and that's affected how Milwaukee's played this year. Now, Milwaukee has won 8 of their last 10 games, and they have been looking better. But if you look at those opponents in there, it's playing a couple of cupcakes, so I don't think there's too much in terms of I don't want to look at in terms of where I'm going to extrapolate any data from that. But 8 out of 10 is still winning 8 out of 10. And I got the best player obviously in this game is going to be Giannis. And with that being said, I think I'm going to go with Milwaukee in this one. I got the Bucks. It's not something where I think it's going to be a blowout or anything, but I definitely think Milwaukee in this one-game scenario is going to go ahead and get it done and beat the Knicks here. Next matchup is going to be the Celtics and the Pacers. Celtics come in at 3-1 in the IST. Pacers undefeated. The very surprising Indiana Pacers 4-0 in their group, and they get to host the home game here in this one for the IST knockout stage. Pacers have the number 1 offense in the league. Boston has the number 2 defense in the league. So this is going to be a fun Styles clash matchup for sure. No Porzingis is going to be in this game for Boston. Halliburton is questionable with the respiratory infection. I'm pretty sure he's going to play. But if he doesn't, obviously, we wouldn't pick Milwaukee or Indiana in this case. But considering everyone is mostly healthy for both sides except for Porzingis, that's a good thing to look at both sides in that regard. Boston is the better overall team. I think that goes without saying. They're the best team in the East right now. They're 15-4. And Indiana's only 10-8 record-wise. But they've caught lightning in a bottle in this tournament. And this is a one-game scenario. Anything can happen in a one-game scenario. We got March Madness vibes with this game. So with that being said, I know Boston's better. But because of that, I'm going with the Indiana Pacers here. I'm checking the upset. I'm believing in Indiana. I'm falling in love with the IST run they're having. Mostly, in part, the second part, falling in love with their run because this is exactly what I wanted to happen. I had mentioned in one of my earlier videos, what if the IST final was the Denver Nuggets and the Orlando Magic? And it'd be like, hey, I don't think the Magic are going to be a title contender this year. But man, if they could win the NBA Cup, that'd be such a dope thing for their fans, knowing that their young team fought hard, won this tournament, and can just carry that momentum throughout the rest of the year and know that hey, man, we got something out of this year. And that's something that you could really hang your hat on. That's exactly what's happening with the Indiana Pacers here. Not really many people expected them to be in this position. So if they're able to take advantage, beat Boston, and then get to the Final Four in Vegas, that'd be so sick, man. I'd love to see that. So hopefully Indiana can pull this one out and get the victory. I think it's going to be fun, and I'm rooting for them for sure. In the Western Conference, we got our 2 quarterfinal matchups. First, we'll go with Pelicans and Kings. Pelicans finished the group 3-1, and Sacramento finished undefeated at 4-0. Pelicans are as close to full strength as they've been all season. Trey Murphy and CJ McCollum came back last week. Trey Murphy in his return had 18 points and made 4 threes. He did he didn't skip a beat, and CJ McCollum played 38 minutes in his return. So these guys look raring to go. I like their starting lineup is those. It's not Trey Murphy actually. They have Valanciunas with Herb Jones, Zion, Ingram, and McCollum, and they're bringing Trey Murphy off the bench. I think Murphy, once he's like fully acclimated, is going to end up starting eventually. But Herb Jones does give you that really good defensive wing on the court. So I guess it might just depend on matchup, depending on what they want to do. But Pelicans looks healthy, and they've been playing well lately. Sacramento, they're coming off a really good win against Denver. They're going to be at home in this one. And De'Aaron Fox has been incredible since he's come back. He's averaging 33 a game in his last 4 games. And I think this one's going to be close too. But because Sacramento is at home and they've been on a nice little run here, they've won 7 out of 10. I'm going to go with the Kings here. Close game, I believe. But I got Sacramento pulling this one out. And last but not least, our last Western quarterfinal, we got the Lakers hosting the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix went 3-1 in the group, and the Lakers went 4-0. LeBron's looked great in this in-season tournament stretch. And Phoenix has looked good as well, despite obviously dealing with their early season injuries. Bradley Beal's still going to be out for this one. Only Gabe Vincent for the Lakers is out. Devin Booker, he turned his ankle last week, but did play on Saturday, so I believe he's going to be there for this one. So you got him and KD against LeBron and AD. They've already played each other twice this year, and the Lakers have won both of those games, but both of those games were without Devin Booker in the lineup for Phoenix. So because of that fact, Devin Booker coming back in this one, and I think the Lakers' record being a little bit deceiving here. I got the Suns pulling it out and taking out the Lakers of the IST. So we got the Lakers, or for me, I got Phoenix playing Sacramento in the semifinal in the West, and then I got Milwaukee playing Indiana in the semifinal in the East. If you're asking me who I'm predicting after that, I got Indiana taking out Milwaukee, and then I got the Suns taking out the Kings. Or excuse me, reverse that. I got the Kings taking out the Suns. So I have the battle of the teams that traded for each other and ended up being successful. The Kings and the Pacers in the final of this one. Everybody remembers that DeMontis Sabonis and Tyrese Halliburton trade, and how it's honestly, even if you can say that Tyrese Halliburton is the better player than Sabonis, it's honestly worked out positively for both franchises. So it's gonna be very ironic that they play each other in the final if that prediction comes true. I'm pulling for it. I think it'll be really fun to think about. There's going to be a lot of cool storylines with that. That championship is going to be on December 9th, by the way, so stay tuned for that one. It's going to be exciting, man. I'm telling you guys, this has already been fun, but we're at the knockout stage part. You love March Madness in college basketball. These games have been competitive, so when we have that element inside of an NBA arena, I think it's just going to jacked up the regular season even more already. But having this be a knockout game, it's going to be really fun. So I'm looking forward to them. Can't wait for Monday and Tuesday night to go ahead and get this wrapped up so we can get to our semifinal matchups and get to Vegas, baby. Let's go. So I kind of want to give just like an overall first month takeaway. I know it's been like 5.5 weeks of the season so far, but I do want to give like an overall season take on what's been happening in the league so far. Just highlight some teams and highlight some players who have been making some noise, and I want to give a little recap of that. So first, I'm just going to start off with the top teams. Top teams have been off to a great start. Boston, 15-4, best record in the East. They had the best record last year. They have not skipped a beat. Adding Drew Holiday has been incredible. Having him and Derek White in their defensive backcourt has been great for the team. Porzingis has fit in well, although he did pick up a calf injury, so that's something that we do have to monitor with this team. But that was also the risk that they took when they traded for him. He has a high upside in terms of his fit, his three-point shooting, and his defensive potential, but he is going to get injured, and Boston knew that. So hopefully for them, during the most important times, he is available and healthy for them so that they can try to succeed as much as possible. Defense is number 2 in the league. And Jason Tatum's been playing really well for Boston. So I mean, there's no surprises with Boston here, but you got to give them love and respect. Still got the number one record in the Eastern Conference. They've been playing really well this year. The Denver Nuggets, my boys, the defending reigning NBA champions, 14-7 so far. They have They're third currently in the Western Conference, so still a top 3 seed right now. They were number 1 for the first 10 games of the year, and then Jamal Murray got hurt. So they struggled a little bit. Jamal came back and then had to leave again because he sprained his ankle. I believe he'll be back for the game on Wednesday. He was only questionable for Saturday, and he didn't play. So I think they knew, hey, you're going to give him 5 days off. It's early in the season. Let's not play with this. He's coming back from the hamstring. Let's just give him some time, get back from the ankle, and then come back again. You miss one game, it might be annoying, but it's all good. But other than that, man, Denver's been great. Jokic has especially been great. I'm going to talk about him a little bit more in the pod, but he's been incredible. We've seen great performances, although up and down from some people, from everyone in the lineup, ranging from Michael Porter Jr. and KCP to Aaron Gordon and Reggie Jackson. We all remember the Reggie Jackson and DJ game against the Clippers. So everyone's contributed. Even the rookies have shined. Young players have shined. Christian Brown, Julian Strawther, Peyton Watson, and even some vets like Justin Holiday, who have been unsung heroes for this team, have really been stepping up. So I've been really happy with what Denver's done so far. And they're a run away from getting this number 1 seed again in the West. Once Jamal comes back, I think they are going to go on a run. They played the most games in the league this year, too. They're already at 21 games. So they've had a really tight schedule. They've had 5 games in their last 7 days. That's been a really tough run to go through. They've done that twice already this year. So, and it's been very road heavy. So it's kind of how Denver was last year. And then through January and February, they just had a ton of home games. They were mopping people up. So I expect that to be kind of the same thing that happens with Denver here. Watch that record start to steadily climb once Jamal Murray comes back. Our surprises at the top, the Orlando Magic, y'all. The Orlando Magic have the second best record in the Eastern Conference, and they have the 4th best defense in the league, the 4th best defensive rating in the league. Franz Wagner, Paolo Banchero have been great so far. I think the biggest difference, though, is Jalen Suggs. Jalen Suggs finally figuring it out, finally finding a way to contribute in a positive way for the Magic. I think some injuries and think just some happenstance, but also just playing the guy more have contributed to him being better. There's no Markelle Fultz. They've moved Cole Anthony to the bench. So now that Jalen Suggs is able to be in the starting lineup and have a real solid effect on this team, not just it comes mostly from a defensive perspective because this dude is as intense as anyone in the league, man. He is fired up at all times. Dude is on 70 dude is on 12 at all times. He just hoops crazy. He hoops like a football player, and coming from his high school days, he was a top recruit in football as well. He was I think the best quarterback in the state of Minnesota when he was playing at Minnehaha. So Jalen Suggs plays basketball with a rage, and it's infectious, and it's spread around his team in a positive light. And it's led them obviously to the 4th best defense in the league and the 2nd best record in the East. I see them dropping off a little as the other teams start to figure it out, like Milwaukee and Miami. But a top 4 to 6 seed is definitely possible for this team. Young squad, a lot of energy. I like the direction that they're headed. And it's just fun, man. It's fun to see teams like this on the come up, try to make a name for themselves. And it's exciting to watch. So go watch some Orlando basketball if you can, man. Another fun little note with them, which will transition me to the next teams I'm talking about. There have only been 2 teams this year who have beaten Boston and Denver, and that would include the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Orlando Magic. So there you go. I mentioned transition because that is the next team I'm going to talk about. Currently, the top 2 teams in the Western Conference are your number 1 seed Minnesota Timberwolves and your number 2 seed OKC Thunder. OKC has been great. Shea's been a top 5 MVP guy, if you want to look at it that way, averaging 30 again, 6-6. And Chet Holmgren's been the leading Rookie of the Year candidate this year. He's been a perfect fit for the Thunder and the way that they like to play. All these young players on this team really know how to play good basketball together, and I predicted that OKC would be a top 4 seed this year, and they haven't steered me wrong. So obviously they got the whole Giddey situation that they got to figure out, but as they continue to obviously work through that situation, however that's going to pan itself out as a team, they've been playing really well on the court, and I'm excited to continue to see them grow. So good job by OKC. My prediction's coming true right now, and hopefully that continues. And then for Minnesota, number one defense in the league. They've been incredible. Jaden McDaniels hasn't. He's gotten hurt. So whenever he's out of the lineup, obviously that's going to take some of their defensive punch away. But Gobert has been really good defensively this season. Anthony Edwards has stepped it up a bit in that department as well. So Minnesota looks good, man. I think they're going to drop off a little bit as well. But I like what their team has done so far. And they beat Denver earlier this year, and they gave Denver all they could handle in the first round last year, even though we beat them in 5. We could see that Tim Conley knows that we're the next, that if you're going to beat a team in the West, you got to beat the Nuggets, and you got to be built for that. So seeing Tim build a team that is directly in line with that is interesting to watch, and it's going to be fun to see how they continue to grow as the season goes on when injuries and other factors start coming into play. But great start for Minnesota so far. Top players, man, I'm going to go straight to the MVPs. The MVPs of the last 4 seasons have been playing just like it, man. Giannis, his team is still trying to figure things out. And getting Dame acclimated into this squad has been tough. But after a slightly slow start for Giannis, I'm just going to read off his last 5 games. 32, 11 and 10, 26, 14 and 5, 33, 10 and 5, 33, 16 and 6, and 31, 9 and 3. And the stock numbers in those games, stocks and blocks together, 3, 7, 4, 4, 4. He's been doing everything offensively and defensively. He's been putting his mark on games on both ends of the floor. And he's putting in another MVP caliber season, man. This dude is an incredible player on both ends. And you just really got to appreciate the consistency and the greatness that Giannis puts in and night out. He's been incredible for Milwaukee this year. And they've won 8 of 10. I talked about it a little bit earlier that it's a little bit of fool's gold because the competition hasn't been really that great in that 10-game stretch. But you got to take it. You only can play who's in front of you. You got to take advantage of those games. And Milwaukee's look good, considering the competition that they've had to play. So good for them. And obviously Giannis, incredible this year. Embiid, last year's MVP. He's had a playmaking increase, and he leads the league in scoring. He's averaging 32 points, 11 boards, and 6.6 assists, which by far be a career high for him. And I think Nick Nurse can be very much correlated to that assist increase for him. I was watching a video on YouTube kind of going over how Embiid's increase in playmaking has gone. I'm sorry if I can't reference you, but in the video, obviously, they were talking about Embiid's DHO, his DHO usage going up. And obviously, that's a play that Jokic and the Nuggets like to run a lot, and that's what they've perfected. So Nick Nurse has kind of brought that over here to Philly. And when you have a dynamic guard like Tyrese Maxey to work that off of and some dynamic wing players for Philly, it's something that can definitely be added to an offense and help out. And what it's done for Embiid is increase those playmaking numbers. 6.6 assists for him is an incredible figure. To go along with 32 points, that's just going to increase his impact on the floor. Because that was one of obviously his big knocks. When you're playing with Doc Rivers, they just threw him the ball in the post and a double would come, and he'd try to have to figure out how to navigate the double team with the pass, and that's not his strongest suit. So now that Nick Nurse has brought him out, but not just brought him out to shoot threes, use him in a more direct dribble handoff capacity, that's increased the offensive efficiency and it's increased his assist numbers. So if they can keep that up, Philly's going to be forced to be reckoned with in the East, man. Him and Maxey have been an incredible duo this year, and Embiid's been incredible. So he's definitely in line to hope to potentially win another MVP this year. Seeing what Philly's record is going to be, and if this man decides to not be as good, but I don't see that coming because next up is Nikola Jokic. This is my pick for MVP right now. I'm not trying to be biased or anything, but if you lead the league in total points, total rebounds, and total assists, and your record is pretty damn good, I'm going to say you're the MVP. He's done this without Jamal for half of the games, and he's been absolutely spectacular, man. Averaging 29 points, 12.8 rebounds, leads the league in that, and 9.8 assists. So almost averaging a triple-double. He's been an absolute monster this entire season. I don't want his numbers to be taken for granted. And as a Nuggets fan, I definitely do not take them for granted because I know what the bottoms feel like. And being at the bottom of this league is not fun. So when you have a guy like this who consistently puts out this output, you have to appreciate it because this is incredibly rare. Jokic is the most efficient offensive machine in the game. No matter what you do, no matter what defense you have, he can find a way to find a good play and a good shot for his team almost every single time down the floor. And that's the pressure that Denver puts on you when you play against them. You might go on a run, you might be up in the fourth, but Denver's offense is constantly a straight line. They perform like this all the time, except when Jokic is off the court, obviously. But they perform as consistent as any team. So if you falter at all, Denver is going to put the pressure on you because they are going to constantly be in a position to get good shots and score at a high level. Denver puts pressure on you like twofold. So offensively, when you're playing against them, there's pressure on you to constantly score because Denver is always going to put up good points and good possessions against you. So, and then defensively, you have to constantly keep your head on a swivel because Nikola Jokic will always find someone and always make a good play. So you're just getting pressured constantly, and you have to stay vigilant and you have to stay on point against this team because if you don't, the Nuggets are going to score on you and they're going to beat you more often than not. Nikola Jokic, you've been absolutely incredible this year. I do not take any of your game for granted. Thank you so much for being a Denver Nugget. I appreciate it so much. Other players that need some love and flowers too. Anthony Edwards, best player on the number one team in the Western Conference, averaging 26, 6, and 5. He's making the leap, y'all. He showed more of a commitment to the defensive end. I don't think it's that crazy of a commitment, but he's been better on that end of the floor. Minnesota is still the number one team in the league in defensive rating. He's been a part of that. This team is really good, really young, knows how to play together. They know their roles. They've been together for a minute now. They've ironed out the Rudy situation. Karl-Anthony Towns is starting to get it a little bit. So if they can go ahead and stay consistent, Minnesota's going to continue to do well. And Anthony Edwards has obviously been a great, big part of that. LeBron James. We got to talk about LeBron James, year 20. 38 years old, finna be 39 in a couple weeks. This man has been absolutely incredible, y'all. Played 20 of 21 games, averaging 24, 7, and 6 as the oldest player in the league. I've had my stages of I've had different stages of liking and disliking LeBron throughout his career. You know, early days was indifferent, but it was fun to watch him as a rookie. And you heard so many people, especially like the Skip Baylesses of the world, try to tear this man down. So you become a fan because you just want to see him prove these doubters wrong. Then he finally gets the chip and everything's cool and he's dominating the league. And then he does the whole I'm jumping to different teams, the passive aggressive stuff, all that stuff kind of turns you off about him for a little bit. But the game has always been impressive, and that's something you can never knock LeBron James for. He has been good as soon as he stepped foot in this league, and he will be good as soon as he leaves. He's been great, man, and you have to appreciate it. The greatness is there. The greatness is always there. This man is one of the best basketball players in the entire history of this sport, and it's a privilege to watch him play, right? It's some of the stuff, yeah, you cannot like it. But when you talk about his game, man, to be this age, to still be doing it this consistently at this level, you can't do nothing but give it up, man. Props to LeBron for continuing to do so. We appreciate the greatness. Please keep it up. And Tyrese Halliburton leads the league in assists at 11.8 per game. Oh, he's just averaging 27 a night on 52, 88, 45 splits. He's been arguably the best point guard in the league this year with him and Luka and Shea. You can argue it however way you want, but those three have been a credible trio at the point guard position this year. The Pacers are only 10-8 record-wise, and their defense is terrible, but they still have the number one offense in the league. They've gone 4-0 in the IST and have a chance to win that cup. That'll be really cool if Indiana can go ahead and move forward in that. And you're watching a guy make the leap right before your eyes, guys. When you see someone making the leap, pay attention because it's really fun watching that transition for a player. Tyrese Halliburton has been incredible, man. And for the rookies, I'm not going to delve deep into them too much, but Chet, Wemby, obviously they've been incredible. Jaquez from Miami, he's been great too. And Asar Thompson's been a generational talent from the defensive end this year. He's been great. And I still believe in Scoot. Scoot has struggled mightily, guys. He's wearing glasses now because he wears contacts because he doesn't want to touch his contacts, which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Just let him play with the contacts on. I don't know. I wear contacts. I've been wearing contacts for years now. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, oh, he's not going to touch his eyes. That's stupid. Just let him play without the glasses. Let him get more comfortable. He had 17 the other night. So you can see him. You see the wheels starting to turn a little bit. You know, it's going to be a struggle. He has moments on the court where he just looks like he's moving too fast and his brain's working too fast for his body. But that happens for a lot of rookies. I'm expecting him to. He showed a lot of talent in the G League, man. He's still built like an NBA. He's still built for a rookie, and I think that he's gonna turn this around. It's too early to try to knock this kid. So I believe in you, Scoot. Go ahead and keep getting it done, my boy. And a couple random notes before I close out this pod. Detroit went the whole month of November without a dub. So I'm going to try to predict when they're going to win that next win. Bogdanovic is back in their lineup, so I predict their next win is going to be the next game that they play this Wednesday when they play against Memphis. Book it. Come back to the video when they do win. Comment and let me know, hey, man, you were right. And I'm saying it because Memphis ain't really that good either. I don't think John Morant's going to be back for that game yet. I don't think so. But yeah, I think with Bogdanovic back, having a scoring punch, Detroit's going to find a way to go ahead and finally get that dub out the way. And then can we talk about this 30-0 Mavericks run for a second? Because my God damn. It was, so OKC was up 111 to 87. The Mavericks went on a 30-0 run to get the lead, and they were up by 6. And then they still lost. After going on a 30-0 run, Dallas still lost to the Thunder in one of the most incredible things I have ever witnessed in my basketball viewing life. Luka had 36, 15, and 18. 36, 15, and 18. Putting up that line and you lose, dog, I'd be sick. I'd be hot if I was a Mavs fan going on a 30-0 run, wasting it and losing to the Thunder still. That was incredible, dog. I could not believe that happened to them. What an anomaly. What a wild thing to happen to you in this league. I don't know. I ain't got words, man. I don't even got the words. That's just one of the most incredible things I've ever seen. Before I close out the podcast, y'all, obviously giving you my song recommendation, and instead of a song, I'm giving you an album. Destin Conrad. The album's called Submissive. It's more of an EP. It's only 9 songs, 22 minutes, so it's a very easy listen. Very nice R&B listen. He's got a song on there with Levin Cali that's really nice. So go ahead and check that out. Remember, again, Submissive by Destin Conrad. Really good R&B project. Thank you again for listening to the Good Look Podcast. I'm your host, Leonard Pinckney, a.k.a. Asia P, giving you the NBA rundown once again. The Good Look Pod on all the socials for all my Denver Nuggets talk recaps and all my other videos about the NBA. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, share this page, share the video, share all my stuff, like, rate, comment. And let's keep things going, y'all. Appreciate y'all for watching. We have a good one.